One of my students asked me, "How do you paint this?" And I can explain it, but it's easier if I show you. Now you really don't need to even use this reference photo. It's just the concept. So let's take a look at this. I'd begin with my lightest areas and get those oranges in. Then I would be thinking about those deep dark clouds. Then I would let it dry, get the horizon line in, and then work my way to the beach. Using 140-pound cold press Arches paper, I've lightly sketched an image. Now I could use 300-pound paper, but this is just a demonstration. Now I really don't want to have a lot of water on the surface, so using my synthetic wash brush, I'm going to mix together a combination of hansie yellow and permanent alizarin crimson. Then using that color blend, I'll apply it to dry paper. Then with a number 14 blend brush, I'll mix together a color combination of French ultramarine blue and indigo. Then apply the color in sweeping strokes. Now if I leave it this way, I can easily have lines. So using a damp number 30 natural hair brush, I'll soften the edges. And while the surface still has a little bit of a shine to it, I might reapply a little more color. Then allow it to dry. As the surface starts to dull down, you can start thinking about applying the ocean. Using the flat synthetic wash brush, I'm going to use a combination of French ultramarine blue with just a little phthalo blue blended in. Now you may choose a different color. It all has to do with the type of ocean that you want to recreate. And this is pretty close to the photo. Then using a clean damp brush, just go along the edge and create your ocean foam. And for that, all you need to do is just soften the edge. Then go ahead and let this dry. So looking at the photo, we can see that we need to deepen the color. So using a darker value, working on dry paper, let's apply it to the horizon line. Then as we work our way down closer to the shore, increase the size of your brush and change the color to a little more phthalo blue. Then using a damp brush, soften the edges and don't forget about the ocean foam. Leave that white. Then let it dry. Now let's refer back to the reference photo. It doesn't have to be exact, but just somewhere in that direction. We can see we need our beach, so let's bring a little burnt sienna into the color that we already have on the palette and create a nice sand color. We could even bring a little hansie yellow into it. And we need to make sure that we use enough water so it's transparent. Then holding the brush more horizontally, apply sweeping strokes. You want to try to catch the tooth of the paper. That way it'll look more natural and not like the beach is drawn on. It'll also really help to give you a better line for the wave lapping on the shore. Then let this area dry. Moving on to the dark silhouette of the mountain, we'll take a little more indigo, bring it into the palette, and make sure that it's a dark value. Then turning the paper upside down, let's use the belly of the brush to create that irregular edge of the ridgeline. Press harder on the brush to flatten the tip and get a wider stroke. Then when you're ready, go ahead and turn the paper back around. Add a little more detail along the shore. Then if you want, you can add this or not, but there's a little outcropping right here. And I'll show you how to add it, just in case you want to. All you have to do is add a few loose brush strokes on dry paper and soften the edges with a damp brush and let it dry. Now to prevent this from standing out too much, using our ocean color, let's paint over it. And since we don't want any blossoms, let's use a synthetic wash brush. Then dissolve the edge of the brush stroke with clean water. And in the reference photo, you'll see that our mountain is much darker, so let's go ahead and deepen the value. And to do that, all we have to do is just layer the color. Then for the house along the shore, instead of painting around it or masking, cut a small shape out of watercolor paper, place it where you want the house to go, and lift some color out. Then remove the tape along the edges and then you have a wonderful painting. Now you can always take more time than I did with more color and detail, but this will give you a really good idea of how to approach this.